Welcome back to the Jungle Podcast. This is your host, John. It's episode 20. You know the other host, Jeff. Jeff, how's it going today? Something like my intro?
What's up, buddy? I like to see that. It's good to see the new scenery behind you. How's the new place?
I'm loving it. It's good place to be.
Good, man.
Only 8 coronavirus active quarantines going on in the building. Other than that, though, it's been
In the building.
People quarantine. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I had a cough the other day, and I didn't want to get tested because, like, I can't, with good faith, like, not tell them.
No, of course. If you have it, you have to tell them.
I felt kind of crappy for like 2 days, but I'm good.
You're good to go. You're good to go. You're
There was
feeling good.
a lot of travel happening at the time.
Well, good. That's
Yeah.
good. That's good. Well, nice, man. Well, yeah, it's good to be back, and I'm excited about the list that we have today. But I think there was a couple good news stories that we can go over beforehand.
Yeah, and before we do that, so a couple ways you can find us. On Twitter, you can interact with us at The Jungle Pod. Jeff posts a lot of the polls that we do for you guys to vote on. Excuse me. You can also find us on a listening platform as Jungle Podcast and YouTube as The Jungle Podcast as well. What we'll be covering today is top 10 defensive ends from 2000 to 2009. So that's the list segment we'll get you. But before we hop into that, as far as the news and notes piece goes, Jeff, I think you had a big one you wanted to talk about.
Well, the biggest one, and actually, and I do want to say this, I want to apologize first to Brett Favre and our buddy Dave Canapple, who's been on the show, posted on Twitter, put some respect on his name. I can't believe I spelled his name wrong on the poll twice.
Oh, is that what I thought he was just saying he should be higher. That's even better.
No, I spelled his name wrong twice because I was
F-A-R-V.
Yeah, it's
Instead of
Favre.
Yeah.
So I spelled it wrong, so I apologize, Brett Favre. But he was foreign both for lists. I thought that was actually pretty appropriate for where he was supposed to be. But okay, going away from that poll is still active, so get your votes in. We have had a few in so far, so that's good. The biggest news is Cam Newton to the Patriots, right? So
Huge.
It's huge news. Signs a 1-year deal. Jared Stidham's got to be so pissed. But it's the big thing is, dude. So I realized that Cam Newton has won an MVP more recently than Aaron Rodgers, and been to a Super Bowl more recently than Russell Wilson, and he's younger than both of them.
Yep. I'm a huge Cam Newton fan. I've said that since day one. Yeah,
I am too. I'm super excited about it. The only thing that like all of a sudden, so he's a Patriots. He's at the Patriots, and you have Belichick and all that. It's like all of a sudden they're all like, "Wait, are the Patriots going to go to the Super Bowl now?" So let's pump the brakes first. Let's see what really happens. But I think they do have a good shot to be really, really good. And then I saw one segment where it's like, what if in Tampa Bay this year Super Bowl you get Tom Brady versus Cam Newton and the Patriots?
We'd have to revisit our playoff projections, maybe.
Oh, you know what?
Pretty big addition.
That is a pretty big addition, especially in that division.
Can't even remember if I have them making the playoffs. I think I did.
I think we both had them at 9-7, or 10-6. Yeah.
I mean, I think they're good enough for 10-6 now. At least they've got to be improved by one win.
I think Cam Newton
probably win the division. They're going to win the division.
I think you're right. I think Cam Newton. You got to think about it. This is probably the best defense Cam Newton's ever probably had. Obviously, the best coaching staff Cam Newton's ever had. Some offensive weapons, obviously. I mean, we'll see what he can do there. But I'm super excited about it. I think it's a huge, huge signing. I can't believe it took so long for him to get there. They only signed him on a 1-year deal, and it's crazy that you get a guy at his caliber who was a former MVP playing the Super Bowl, for that cheap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Richard Sherman had some commentary on it.
Yeah,
basically saying this is an NFL MVP quarterback who's 31 and he's getting paid the league minimum.
Yeah.
Something's not right about that, but at the same time, he signed a contract. It's incentive laden. He can make it to 7.5.
Right. Right. I mean,
I think it's a win-win for everybody. It's like, Cam, you sign with the team, and you're not like, again, he chose to do it. He's off the street. Like, he has a home. He's with the best in the best situation that you could be in the league as a quarterback, coming off injuries. And look at other guys who've gone. Darrelle Revis took a discount for a year, won a Super Bowl, signed a fat contract, and there's no reason that Cam can't do the same thing. or get signed by the Patriots and just stay there.
Stay there. Really, it's the biggest win-win for the Patriots because he goes there and he kills it. It looks like the best pickup in the history of free agency. Mm-hmm. He goes there and he doesn't do great, and it's like, all right, we had him for a year. Okay, we still sit him. We'll draft a quarterback next year.
And they put $30 million in the offensive line of free agency.
Right.
It's good O-line. They're going to be running the ball more. No, I think it's great. It's perfect. Perfect fit for everyone. Mina Kimes from ESPN, they were giving her a hard time because she spent like 2 weeks breaking down Jarrett Stidham. I guess like the network assigned that like to her.
Yeah.
It was kind of like one of those FML moments.
That is pretty funny. Look, Jarrett. Sorry,
that's where we're at right now. Jarrett Stidham's the big only thing to talk about for her.
Yeah, and yeah, right. I'm sure Jarrett Stidham's like, come on, guys. But look, Cam Newton's coming to town. He's the starter.
He has no right to feel that way.
No, he doesn't. You're right.
He's a backup. You were never drafted to start.
No, and he's not Cam Newton. He's never won an MVP. He's not Cam Newton. So I can't wait to see him. You know what's interesting about this, and they talked about – go ahead.
I'll bet you Cam gets hurt and Jarrett's going to get a chance anyways.
I hope that doesn't happen, but you might be right.
He is banged up. I mean, it depends how much he runs it, but I think there's a good chance they're both going to play at some point.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, we're going to see them both in preseason when that happens. Yeah. Hopefully it happens. What's crazy is this year's possible comeback players of the year.
Yeah.
Look this list: AJ Green, Gronk, Cam Newton, Stafford, J.J. Watt, Ben Roethlisberger.
Gronk's winning it. I'll call that right now. That's a great list.
Yeah.
Gronk's winning that. They're gonna light it up. That offense, and then you add Gronk to it. Just wait.
It's gonna be
He's
big.
Gonna light it. He's gonna get 1,000 yards.
It's gonna be big for him. He's gonna score a ton of touchdowns.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so that's my news and notes. Anything else you wanted to add on that?
Honestly, no. That's all. That was the big one.
That was big.
Doing some sexy, not sexy. One of these I'm recycling from the audio mishap episode. So my sexy is the OSU Bama series. We didn't get to talk about it before we did, but people didn't get to hear about us talk about it before. I'll keep it short and sweet because it's 2-week-old news, but Ohio State's playing Bama 2027, 2028. It's two of the marquee programs in the history of the sport. It's a sport that's dominated by a number of teams, and those are two of them. The big discussion is like, who are the coaches going to be at that point? You know, people have kind of been throwing around a lot of, is like Nick Saban's still going to be there? Is Ryan Day going to be in the NFL? I don't know. We'll wait and see. It's just awesome to see those teams going against each other and doing home and homes during Columbus and Tuscaloosa. None of this like we're playing in Dallas stuff where you don't have like the student section. You know, it's just different. I'm really excited to see that. It's only 7 years from now, but it'll be cool.
Not having it on neutral field is huge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
it's more fun.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
It's less rich alumni and more students who really should be the ones enjoying their student athletes. Like the students should be able to afford the game, you know?
Yeah.
College
but, I mean,
freshmen aren't
it adds to it.
House.
Yeah, it adds to it. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Well, my sexy not sexy actually kind of goes hand in hand a little bit. The sexy part of it is, so there's a guy named David Rush. I'm going to go back to, I've talked about people setting Guinness Books of World Records on my not sexy before too. This is another one. So this guy is setting, he has a ton of different Guinness World Records, and he sets them. So the sexy part is he sets them to promote funding for STEM education. So science, technology, engineering, mathematics. That's pretty cool. Obviously, to promote that, hopefully get people into that, get great careers in that area. The not sexy part of it is his most recent one was getting hit with 92 wet sponges in the face. That's the newest world record that he set. It's kind of like, look.
Is there a time frame, or is like in a certain amount of time, or is
there was a time. I want to say it was like a couple minutes or something like that. I don't know. I saw the headline, read a little bit about it.
Totally fair.
When I first went into it, I was like, "That's a not sexy all day." But then I read a little bit more. I said, "Okay, he's doing it for good cause. That's pretty cool. Good for you." But can we come up with some other types of maybe where just sitting there, like you should see the picture. He's sitting there like hunched over, and they're just smacking him with wet sponges. Like there's nothing
hilarious.
sexy.
I don't know if it's like worthy of like a world record, like officially, but
I mean,
it's because he does nothing to contribute to the record. He's just the idiot who says, "Hit me in the face with the sponge." If I think I am going to take a strong stance on this. You should only be allowed to have a world record if you actually do something to contribute to yourself being unique in that scenario. You shouldn't be able to just be like, I'm willing to get smacked in the face with 1,000 sponges in 2 minutes and have your name in the book. It should be like, I'm going to jump on a pogo stick while I get hit in the face with sponges. You know what I mean?
Do a skill while it happens. There
you go. Yeah. Well, because you're contributing. If you're just sitting in a chair being an idiot, you don't deserve it.
The picture, he's literally just bent over with his hands on his knees, and they're just throwing sponges at his face. Like that's literally what. That's why. There's nothing sexy about that. That's there, but good for you, David, for promoting STEM education. So there you go. That's my sexy, not sexy.
I thought a lot about the mission and like nothing about how they're gonna draw awareness to it.
Yeah. No.
I guess we're talking about this, so we're aware.
There you go. So that's my sexy, not sexy.
I like that. For not sexy, I have Ryan Zimmerman, perennial all-star third baseman. He's a little bit older in his career now, but he's been with the Nationals forever. They came off the World Series title, saying he's not going to play for coronavirus. He's got a wife with some health concerns. That's totally fine. The not sexy part is I think we're going to see some of that. And there's going to be people that you really want to see, and it's going to change the dynamic of a lot of these leagues, like for the foreseeable future, I think. But just something I noticed, and it was like, okay, that's like the first like bigger name. Like there's been some other small, fringe players, but he's a pretty big. It's going to suck to hear those. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that. I think that I even saw a story where like the NBA's restarting, and I saw that some of the stars may not actually come back and play until the actual playoffs start.
Oh, yeah. I mean, why would you?
I mean, like the Lakers are going to make the playoffs. There's only a couple teams.
Well, because he's chasing an MVP probably.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to think he's mostly chasing the title, so it's kind of like I bet you he will play. I bet you he will, but I bet you there'll be some because they're like, well, look,
it's not in his DNA to just be like, nah, I'm waiting.
No, you're right. You're right. It's just you're right though. That's something that we're probably going to start to see more.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, good. I like that. So you want to hop into the list, the rankings?
Yeah. Let's do that. So with let's pull off the brakes for a sec. So this list is top defensive ends 2000, 2009.
Yep.
Couple things to note. A lot of cool names on here that you kind of forget about. And there's also like the same dilemma you face in running backs and wideouts and running backs. What if this guy comes in at 06, but he's that good in that 4 years? Like, where do I rank him? There are. Because like it's the second. Like we were talking about earlier, we were like, all right, so we're going to do defensive end in edge, which is like outside linebacker in a 3-4 format. For people who may not know, the NFL changed from like a 4-3 format, meaning 4 down defensive linemen, to more of a 3-4 setup. Kind of like the 2007, 2008, I think, is when you started to see that position emerge more. And with that comes the outside linebacker who lines up like at the end, a la Von Miller and a lot of the guys, Clay Matthews, et cetera.
Yeah.
But really, they were, in the traditional format, 10 or 15 years ago at this point, they would have been outside linebacker. So this one, we're just doing defensive end. We'll change that for the next time period because it's a little bit more fitting. But you can't leave a guy like Derek Brooks off this list, because it's a different position at that time, where it's a little bit more similar now.
Wait a minute. Derek Brooks is a linebacker.
Exactly. I thought we were doing defensive ends.
He's not a defensive end at all.
I know. I'm saying he's not on my list.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I was like, I guess you were not clear on that. Yeah.
No. Yeah. Okay. Good.
I'm saying that's the reason I didn't feel right doing that. That's the reason I was like, I can't not have him on if we got to change the qualifications here.
Well, but what Derek Brooks was mostly he was a middle type guy.
Yeah, I mean, like here's your
Derek Thomas. You're thinking of Derek Thomas. It doesn't matter. So like Derek Brooks was the middle linebacker for the Bucks.
Outside. Let the viewers decide. We'll put it on a poll.
Yeah.
He's an outside linebacker. We might be confusing someone.
He's a linebacker, dude. Just a linebacker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I distinguish those in my head. we're getting off topic.
Okay.
We can go back to that argument next week.
We're going with guys that have their hands in the dirt.
They have to play defensive end. That's all we're saying here. Yeah.
Yes.
You confused yet?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. So there you go. But once we get into it, I think people will know. So this was a fun list to put together. Some names that I did not think about, but I think it was a good one. So you want to go 10?
Yeah, I'm gonna start it off. From the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, played with Derek Thomas, Simeon Rice, Chicago native.
Don't have him higher. Travis, don't hire.
Yeah, he was one where I actually struggled to put him on the list, if I'm being honest, because he had like 2 really, really good years. But outside of that, like at his peak, he was arguably the best defensive end in the league for like that 2002 season. But when I looked at the body of work, I put him on just because at his peak he was that good. But I didn't think like the body of work made him better than the other 9 guys that I have coming.
Look, I think that's fair. I have him higher, so we'll get to him there. The way I kind of looked at this is I looked at tackles for losses and sacks. Mm-hmm. Sacks mostly, obviously, for a defensive end. And then I just looked at just going back thinking about, like, dominance on the field, obviously. Because, like, there was one guy on the list, he might be on yours. If not, we'll mention him later, who also played a lot of 3 technique. And I didn't put him in because he wasn't a pure defensive end, right? So Simeon Rice is higher for me. He had 5 straight years, 11 sacks, 15.5, 15, 12, 14. That's 5 solid, really, really years in a row of, some really good solid numbers there. But I think that's fine. I saw some lists where he wasn't in the top 10. I mean, obviously he's on your top 10, so I think that's good.
He's top 10 in the decade. I mean, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good players. Like
a lot of good players.
Stuff out there if you want to make my list.
Yeah. Well, good. All right, good. So he's your 10. My 10 was Patrick Kearney.
From the old Falcons. Okay.
From the Atlanta Falcons. Yep. I remember watching him. It's funny. He was like my favorite player on those old Madden games. Remember the old Madden games where you could like draft your team, like the fantasy ones. You make like basically a fantasy team. And I used to always love having Pat Kearney because he was like unblockable. 93. What?
Number 93.
Yeah. Oh no, not 97. Number 97.
97? Was he 97?
But I mean, he had a few years. I mean, in 01, 12 sacks, 10
in Bosch.
13 in 04, 14 and a half in 07. Some pretty good tackles for losses games. He was a dominant player on those Falcons defense. I had Pat Kearney there, my number 10. It was tough for me to think about putting him higher, which is funny because the next guy at number 9 was left off of a lot of lists, and I thought that was shocking. But he's my number 10, Pat Kearney. Is he even on yours?
No.
He's not.
So he was one of those guys that I was like altogether, maybe he should be higher than Simeon Rice. But then I was thinking, like, Simeon Rice, though, at his peak was just better than I ever thought Pat Kearney was. I don't know.
Yeah.
You obviously did too.
Yeah, I did too. Yep.
He was an honorable mention.
Okay.
Number 9 is Javon Curse from Philadelphia.
Don't have him on the list? Nope.
That's what I'm saying. After, for me, the 7th guy, 8, 9, and 10 could have been a couple different ones.
Yep.
And I ended up going with the ones that I thought of first. I was like, if they came to my head first or more, a little bit faster than the other ones, it probably means they were, had longer sticking power.
Yeah.
Or maybe they were lucky to be good when I was like 11.
But Javon Curse came in the league and like everyone was afraid of him. He was like that guy. Like he was
the freak, dude. So was Simeon Rice. They both had pretty parallel careers. They had like 2 years where they were the best. I think no, I don't think he won a defensive MVP, but
no, he did.
Title. He was just a freak. And actually, when I was looking at his the pictures of him, I forgot just how freakish he is. Like,
monster.
Dude looked like an action figurine.
Yep.
He wasn't a real person.
Yeah. Absolute monster. I mean, just freakishly athletic. So athletic. I left him off. It was tough for me to leave him off. I think that's a good point. I think 7 on down, especially 6, 5 on down is okay, it's got to be these guys. But well, good. So he's your number 9. My number 9 was actually Osi Umenyiora.
I like that. Oh man, I literally didn't think of him.
It's funny.
I saw a list with a Gunlaye on it, and I thought of him, and I was like, "There's another one I'm forgetting."
OC, yeah. So there were so many lists that I looked at that didn't have him on, and I looked at his numbers. I'm like,
say
wait
it again. Say the name again.
OC Umenyiora.
Umenyiora.
Yeah. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, look, Pro Bowler 05, Pro Bowler 07, 14 and a half, 13. You know, and he
Super Bowl champ.
What's that?
Super Bowl champ.
Super Bowl champ on that 07 team that beat the Pats. You know what I mean? And he missed 08, tore his meniscus, so he had some injuries, but I mean, good tackles for loss. He was on that D line, which I'm sure that the main guy we're going to both mention later on the list, that was so dominant for the Giants. You know what I mean? But I mean, OC Umenyiora, when I saw that he wasn't listed on so many, I was like, wait a minute, like, come on, he was an absolute stud, you know? So he was my number one.
There's another one that another guy who you might say his name, who had a very parallel situation to Umenyiora. We'll talk
on another team.
An idea, yeah. I'll talk about it.
Okay, all right.
If you got one, Umenyiora. Okay, great name drop there.
Yeah,
that's your number 9.
That's
my number 8. The former pride of the Missouri Tigers and the Cincinnati Bengals, and later the San Francisco 49ers, Justin Smith.
Okay, that's fine. That's fair. But see, for me, like, and you're right, he was a defensive end. He had a really, really good career.
Pure defensive end.
What's that?
He was pure defensive end. Are you saying he didn't fit the position description?
No, he does. He does.
Yeah.
I didn't think about him consistency-wise. I love that he's on your list. I'm kind of sad that I left him off. He probably deserves to be maybe number 10. I mean, like, numbers, he wasn't going to blow you out of the water, right?
No, but he was just really good for a long time. Yeah.
And he was a pure leader on every team that he went to. So, man, I like that. I just looked him up real quick because I'm like, damn, I can't believe that I didn't think about it. That's a really good name drop. So you have him there like I have OC, where I didn't think about Justin Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How could you forget the hometown guy? Him, let's be honest. There were a lot of, like, Sean Ellis from the Jets. Like, there's guys that were good, like really good and consistent contributors to good teams, sometimes bad teams too.
Yeah.
He has definitely, the fact that he played in the Bengals makes me more aware of him. But when I look at his statistics, and especially what he did even after he left Cincinnati, because he didn't get the notoriety, and
he was great.
Honest, he was playing in San Francisco his entire career. He would have had more Pro Bowls. He was on those bungles like John Kitna years where
he
he
never made
really
the Pro Bowl until he got to San Francisco.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He would have had more. He was that good of a player. He just didn't have the notoriety.
Look, I love that pick. I love Justin Smith. He was one of my favorite Bengals, I mean, probably all time, to be honest with you. I just, like, when I thought about it, it's just like, you know, the numbers. I probably put a little bit too much into stats, but when you look at a defensive end, you expect two main things: sacks and tackles for losses.
Yeah,
that's the way I thought about it. But Justin Smith, great name.
It is true. I'm looking at his stats right now. Yeah, he made 1 Pro Bowl in that time period.
Yeah.
But they were all in San Francisco. But he made 5 years in a row, starting at age 30. It's like you can't tell me that. And you look at stats. He was just as good in Cincinnati. He just didn't have the cameras on.
Hey, he was great. I like it there. I'm gonna bet you that the name that I'd say for number 8 will probably be higher for you. Now, I will say this: if it was a list from 2006 to 2015, you could probably make the argument that he could be number 1. But he's number 8, and maybe
I think we have the same name. Who is it?
Maybe should be number 7 for me, but DeMarcus Ware.
He's number 7 for me.
There you go. So I
thing.
love DeMarcus Ware. Unbelievable years. In 2008, the guy had 20 sacks. You know what I mean? 11 and a half, 14, 20, 11. So really, really good. Like I said, if this was a year if this was a 15-year decade, he could be number 1. He's a future Hall of Fame.
If I was like a Troy football fan, couldn't you go to Troy?
Yeah,
right.
Troy.
In South Carolina, I think.
Yep.
If I was a Troy football fan, Troy's in Alabama? Either way. Yeah. So he probably would have been like where I ranked Zeke last time. The benefit of the doubt goes to Zeke that we've seen what DeMarcus does after that, and it's still good. It's just he was the biggest one that suffered of when he entered to where he falls on this list.
Yes.
If we're saying all things aside, he's in my top 3.
Yeah, I agree with you. You can make an argument he'd be number 1.
I don't know. Maybe we'll have to do a 20-year list. That's hard to say. There are some really other top 3 might be aggressive.
Top 3 might be aggressive. There are some really, really good ones.
Maybe we'll do that one. Figure out exactly where I put them. But I have him at the 7th spot.
Okay.
Same
So
reason.
my 7 Simeon Rice, who we already talked about. Yeah. I love those Bucks. I love those Bucks teams. Love those Bucks teams.
Dude, that defense was the Ed Reed and Ray Lewis Baltimore defense, the early one. I think in 2001. Didn't they win the year before? 2000 was the best show on turf, St. Louis. Yeah. 2001, I think,
was Baltimore. That
was the Ravens. And then 2002 is when the Bucks did it.
The Bucks, yeah. Yeah, the Bucks.
Those 2 defenses, and I know it's partially because that's when I was a child, but, like, the fact that they had, like, Rondé Barber, we've already named Warren Sapp, Simeon Rice, Derek Brooks, Rondé Barber, John Lynch, my favorite player as a kid growing up.
Yeah.
Like, not even talking about, like, there's the persona, the mentality of the offense with Mike Allstott. Just all-time great. All-time great team.
And here's the thing. He's that high on his list. I mean, his best year was – he was 99. He was awesome also. When he came in as a rookie in 96, he had 12 and a half. Yeah. 12, you know what I mean? So, like –
where'd he go to school?
I just looked at it in 5 straight years of having 11 or more sacks where you're almost at a sack a game is – I mean, that's something. That's incredible.
Where did he go to school?
Simeon Rice?
Yeah.
He went to
Syracuse?
Illinois.
He went to Illinois?
Yep.
Really? Okay.
Chicago. Yep.
We have a piece on good football players that come from U of I. There aren't many.
Yeah.
Martellus.
He's my number 7. Your number 7 was DeMarcus Ware.
3rd overall pick. Went to Mount Carmel. Awesome. Love it.
Yep.
Good stuff. So for my 6, that's where we're at, right?
Yep.
Richard Seymour. So Seymour, guy played forever. He was at his best. He won 3 Super Bowls with the Patriots. Mm-hmm. And then he goes to, I think, Oakland, and he went to Chicago, right? And he might have gone to, I think he went to Green Bay too, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty sure he did. Like a year. I think he spent like 1 year there, and then he went to Chicago for a year, because I remember thinking it was weird. But the thing with him, so he's the biggest one. Like, if you look at just his stats, you're like, oh, he has 57 career sacks. Like, these other guys have 100 plus.
He's just New England and Oakland.
Was it just Oakland? Okay, maybe I'm thinking of some other defense. Julius Peppers is who I'm thinking of. I'm an idiot. We'll talk about him later. Yeah. He was the one that he had played for the Bears that's a compliment right there to Richard Seymour.
Yeah, that is.
Richard Seymour was the biggest one that got penalized from the change in play from a 4-3 to 3-4. In a 4-3, he was a DN, and that's what he played pretty much, the most of his career until they switched formats and they put him on the inside.
Yeah.
So it kind of affected some of the stats, but like the guy was, I think, like a 5 or 6 time Pro Bowler. The Super Bowls speak for themselves. He was a leader on the defense. I hope you have him on your list.
I don't.
No.
So he's the one. He's the one where I said earlier that I didn't have him on because he played a lot of D tackle free technique inside.
That's fair. I think of him as a DN still.
But see, here's the thing. I'm going through it again and looking back now. I'm like, you know what? I'm an idiot because listed wise, from 2001 to 2009, he's only listed as a D tackle for one of those years. The rest of them, he's all listed as DN. And then later on in his career, after 2009, he was a D tackle.
I think they kind of shifted him in and out. They'd move him too.
And you know what? And if you look at him, he was not only was he 5 Pro Bowls from 02 to 06. Pro Bowl's great. The biggest thing is being first team All Pro. He was first team All Pro 3 times. So you know what? For me to not have him on my list, I will concede a loss to that. He deserves to be there and that high. His numbers do not jump off the charts at all. Like his sack numbers aren't great.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. I was like, why? I looked him up. I was like, I remembered him. And I'm like, why aren't his numbers as good? And that was really cool.
Yeah, and that was why. But look, you're right. I mean, unbelievable football player. I didn't have him on the list because of
he made the NFL 2000s All-Decade team.
Yeah.
As a DN. So I
Okay.
took that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Well, I saw, so I looked at like the NFL's all decade of 2000s. Well, wait a minute.
Actually, I'm an idiot. He made it as a D tackle. That
D
negates
tackle.
my point, but I shouldn't have said that. Continue.
All right, but that's okay. Look, I'm still following him on the list. The fact that he was listed as DN 9 out of those 10 years is that does it enough for me. So that's fair. I don't have him on the list. I'm going to guess that the guy that I'm about to mention you don't have on your list, and that's John Abraham.
No, you love those Atlanta guys. I saw it. They played together. He's a great player.
Great. I mean, it mainly because, I mean, if you look, so he was 3-time Pro Bowler, 13 sacks, 10 sacks, 10 and a half, 10, 16 and a half. I mean, that's great consistency.
Balled out.
What's that? Yeah, he balled out. Now, he's one of the guys, though, that you could also go the opposite direction and say he was a guy who could stand up and be outside a lot. Like he could have been outside linebacker. You know what I mean?
Kind of a tweener. Yeah.
Kind of a tweener. So if you look at your guys from the standpoint of being Seymour being a D tackle, you could look at him as being an outside linebacker. I guess we kind of meet in the middle there with both of them.
Mm.
You know what I mean? But I like them a lot.
So at number 5, Jared Allen, skull baby. Jared Allen. Let's talk about just his character in the first spot. So
just so you know, he's my number 5 also.
Good. Yeah. Because the top 4 are clear cut.
I think so.
Right. Jared Allen is, let's see, like, I don't know, top 10 all time in sacks. Like the guy he produced for such a long time.
So
just elite. Like he really was. You know, but like the thing with him is like he was never, maybe like 1 year or 2 years he'd be like he was the best defensive end in the league. But he just was so good for so long. Yes. And he spanned really a lot of that decade. Like if you're looking at stats, he should be in the conversation. If you're looking at Pro Bowls, he should be in the conversation. If you're just looking at like body of work in any aspect, really should be in the conversation. The next 4 guys that I'm assuming both of us have probably the same names because they are clear cut. They're a little bit above, and that's why we have them ranked as such. But Jared Allen was like first one off the board, but I'm thinking best of the rest of the whole decade.
Jared Allen was so good. I love Jared Allen. Love watching him play so much. You know what I mean? I mean, his consistency was just absolutely crazy. Yeah. And like you said, I mean, he led the league in sacks, and I forget what year it is, but he had like 20 or 20 and a half. And
2011 or 29.
If you lead the league in sacks, I mean, there's only one guy on this list that led the league in sacks twice in this decade, and I'm sure we're going to talk about him. But so Jared Allen's up there. I mean, it's a really special list when you look at these top 4. So Jared Allen, he's my number 5 also. Who's your number 4?
So at number 4, he's a Maction guy from the MAC, went to Akron. He's from Pittsburgh. Jason Taylor from the Miami Dolphins, number 99. If you grew up when we grew up, and I kind of forgotten about it, which is, I guess it says something about like my memory, but like I forgot how dominant he was. There have been points on this list where I'm like, I could make an argument for him to be my number 1.
Yeah.
When you really look at it. And that's, you can say that. This is the first time on a list I can honestly make an argument for the next 4 guys to be number 1 on this list.
Yes.
Jason Taylor was just an all-time great. I don't know, pleasure to watch.
3 first-team All-Pros in the decade.
Yep.
7 Pro Bowls. I mean, the guy was unbelievable. Prior to the MAC, I love that. Led the league in sacks in 2002 with 18 and a half. His tackles for loss were always off the charts. I mean, consistency, just such a badass. He's also a Hall of Famer.
Remember when he was young with Zach Thomas, the linebacker? Dude, what a combo that was.
Yes.
Fun Dolphin teams back then.
So this list,
Ricky.
One thing that it did was made me realize how hard it is to be a Hall of Famer in the NFL, especially defensive end. Because not a lot of these guys are in the Hall of Fame.
No,
you know what I mean?
A lot of them won't be. I mean, when you make 2, 3 Pro Bowls, you don't win a Super Bowl or something, it's like obviously that helps.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
No, but he's a Hall of Famer. Look, he's my number 2. I'll go ahead and tell you that right now. So I have him higher. I'm guessing the guy that I'm about to mention is either your 1 or 2. And he's another one where if you looked at all 20 years, he could probably be number 1. But I put Julius Peppers at 4.
I have him at 3.
Okay, so there you go. I mean, look, the guy's longevity is unbelievable. His athleticism. The guy played college basketball at North Carolina. You know what I mean? He is one who will be a Hall of Famer, without a doubt. His numbers are, still awesome. Like you said, you can look at this list and kind of flip-flop a lot of the top 4. I had such a hard time putting him at 4 and leaving him at 4 because of how good he is and how good he was. But
the fact that you have him again ahead of Taylor is perplexing to me.
You mean Taylor ahead of Freeney?
Sorry. Yeah. Long Monday.
Because
you're the biggest Julius Peppers fan that I think I know.
I love Julius Peppers, but look, if this was a longevity thing, Julius Peppers would be higher. Taylor had more first team All Pros.
Right.
I'm pretty sure he had more sacks in the decade. Also, he also was a lead leaguer in the sacks in the decade. Julius Peppers was never once the lead leaguer in sacks in the decade. And James Taylor is a Hall of Famer now. So Julius, I know, will be. I have him at 4. The biggest problem I have, actually, and this is where I was almost going to change, was I was going to change him with my number 3, who's Dwight Freeney.
I've got Dwight at 2.
So you have Dwight at 2. Who's your number 3?
Julius Peppers. That's what I said.
Oh, Julius Peppers. That's right. Sorry. So Dwight's my number 3. I don't mean to stop talking about Julius Peppers. You look at his numbers, his consistency from, really, his rookie year, 12 sacks, and then 11, 10.5, 13, 14.5, 10.5. Look, you can go on and on about Julius Peppers. Dwight Freeney was the one guy. The reason why I put him ahead of him, I remember those Colts teams where there was literally a point in time from 02 through 05 that no one could block him. No one could figure him out.
Didn't you run a 4.3 in the combine?
4.3 from Syracuse. Ran a 4.340, and his spin move was unbelievable. He was also one of those guys.
The fastest time ever is 4.2 something.
Yeah.
He's running a hair off that.
Yeah, and he weighs 268 pounds. What I also loved about Dwight Freeney, he's listed at 6'1". I doubt that he's 6'1". So you know what I mean? So a guy who's not that big, who was so dominant on those Colts defenses, who were really, really good. He did lead the league in sacks one year. He led the league in tackles for loss one year. So consistent. But then even after that, all the way up to 2009, he was first team All Pro, and with 13.5 sacks. The guy was, and in 2011, he was a Pro Bowler, So you said it. If you put him at number 1, I wouldn't have been mad at you.
You can make an argument for him. If we're going to just straight stats, he's probably the number 1 guy.
Well, I would say that the guy I think we both have.
I didn't dig this deep, but maybe not.
Yeah.
I am. So who's your number 2?
So my number 2 is Jason Taylor.
Jason Taylor. Okay. So I'm assuming we have to have the same guy at number 1, Michael Strahan.
Yes. Has to be. Has to be.
That's actually kind of surprising. I didn't think we were going to have the same number 1. We switched up 2, 3, 4. But the fact that both of us say Michael Strahan unanimously is the number 1 guy, that tells you something about his career.
So he led the league in sacks twice in those 10 years. Set the league record one of the years with 22.5.
Yeah.
And then both those years also he led the league in tackles for losses. So and then again he led the league in tackles for losses in 18. Plus he was on that 07 Giants team that beat the Patriots. That's got to say something. Michael Strahan, he's also, he was a 4-time first team All Pro. I know 2 of those came in the 90s. Yeah. But look, that guy was just out of this world for a few years in the 2000s.
Yeah, and he rarely got hurt until a little bit later in his career. He just produced year in and year out. Yeah. Yep. Age 30, 2001, he had 20. He added him to this list, and he was 29 at the beginning of the decade.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I didn't even notice that until I just looked again. You don't even think about it. The guy he was basically a little bit younger than us right now at the start of the decade, and we just named him the best at the position. Yeah. Everything you said times 10. He had every stat in the book. He had the Super Bowl, everything. He's like, he's his generation's Howie Long, especially going right into the showbiz and just being a natural.
Which you know what he's really good at? He's really good at it.
Yeah, he's on Good Morning America. He's one of the best in the country. Like, Michael Strahan, how can you not say, like, I was kind of curious where you were going to put him.
I saw one list that had him at 4, and I was like, at 4? Like, come on.
That's my point. You could make an argument for these other guys to be number 1 too.
You can.
When I was actually thinking about it, I'm like, who was the best? It was Strahan. It was Strahan.
He was the best. He was the best. He was the best. And I didn't like those Giants teams. I was so pissed when they beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. But I remember how good watching him and Umanura in 07 and Justin Tuck and those guys on that defense. I mean, they were just unreal, you know.
He was older too, and he was still just like. Do you remember how intense he was?
Oh,
like he's the nicest guy when they talk, just like Howie Long. But like Howie was a nut. You're not that good if you're not a nut. He just covers it up with that smile. But he's crazy. He's a bad dude.
He's a bad.
You don't play that well for that long and not have at least one problem with how you think.
Oh, I'm with you.
That guy was a psycho. He was great.
I love him.
Great.
So if you look at it, actually, our top 5 are all the same players. I know we're a little bit mixed 2 through 4, but like you said at the beginning of this, I don't think you can make an argument to have anyone else there.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
we didn't make one.
No, yeah, you're right. All right, so let's run it back real quick. 10 through 1 for me: Pat Kearney, Umanura, Ware, Simeon Rice, John Abraham, Jared Allen, Peppers, Freeney, Taylor, Strahan.
10, Simeon Rice. 9, Javon Curse. 8, Justin Smith. 7, DeMarcus Ware. 6, Richard Seymour. 5, Jared Allen. 4, Jason Taylor. 3, Julius Peppers. 2, Dwight Freeney. And 1, Michael Strahan.
Love it, man.
That pretty much wraps up episode 20. We'll get this posted on Twitter. Go ahead and vote. And let us know what you guys think. We'll be back hopefully later this week. We'll see how the calendar plays out, but I'm thinking probably Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get another one in. I think it would be fun to maybe stack up, actually do a 20-year list with these guys would be fun.
Okay.
But we
can do that with all of these.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. About it. All right, man.
All right, man.
See ya.
Have a good one. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Yep.